The honourable member for Parramatta.
Thank you, Speaker. As the second oldest city in Australia, the history of Parramatta is also the history of Australia. As Parramatta continues on its path to becoming a global city, we must protect its heritage. And whatever lies ahead in Parramatta's future, I'm determined to make sure we never forget where it all began. This month, I held a community forum on the future of Parramatta's heritage alongside the Minister for Environment and Water, marking the first steps in a community-led approach towards heritage management in the city. At the forum, community groups were asked to present their visions for the future of Parramatta's heritage and how it can be managed so that these treasures remain a core part of the community for generations to come. The forum, held almost 5 years to the date of the Parramatta Female Factories National Heritage Listing, marks a new chapter in the fight to protect Parramatta's heritage treasures. But the fight to preserve Parramatta's heritage didn't start with me, it started with the community. And I want to recognise the decade of passionate advocacy that brought us to where we are today. From community leaders and groups like Gay Hendrickson of the Parramatta Female Factory Friends, Suzette Mead and Phil Russo from the North Parramatta Residents Action Group, Bonnie Jurek and Liz Scully. After a decade of activism, we've taken important steps to making sure Parramatta's heritage treasures remain an integral part of the community for decades to come. Speaker, my electorate is also home to the Toongabbie Legal Centre. I've always been driven by the belief that we as a society should be defined by our capacity to help the most vulnerable. And across the country, community legal centres provide an incredibly valuable service to society's most vulnerable members. Whether it be those experiencing financial hardship, domestic violence, cultural and linguistic barriers, or those facing discrimination, help from a community legal centre can be life-changing. Parramatta has long been a launchpad for first-generation immigrants, and many have gone on to reach their aspirations thanks to these community legal centres. And for the last 15 years, the Toongabbie Legal Centre has been providing free legal assistance to more than 10,000 vulnerable community members. Run by over 50 volunteers, the Toongabbie Legal Centre has continued to deliver these services despite no core funding from state or federal governments. Instead, it relies on community fundraising and donations to support its good work. And it's a reflection on the value of this organisation that the centre has been continually funded through this model. But this model does have its limits. The growing demand for legal assistance from the local community has forced the centre to explore options for growth. It currently operates out of a hall next to St Anthony's Church in Toongabbie, but it's fast outgrowing the space. In response to these pressures, the centre has begun crowdfunding for a new permanent location to continue delivering community legal services to Western Sydney. So the next time you're in town, have a think about dropping by their many fundraising events or making a donation at the Toongabbie Legal Centre website, because every contribution will ensure that the important work of the Toongabbie Legal Centre continues on into the future.